he hit me in the head. He flung me towards the TV. It was like a wrecking ball.
These women experienced horrific abuse at the hands of men they thought they could trust.
My boyfriend sex trafficked me for 2 years and then he paralyzed me.
By sharing their stories, they want to offer hope to other women.
Tell me that again.
You're drunk.
Tell me that again.
Get out. You're literally a monster.
Reagan met her boyfriend in her junior year at college.
One of my roommates met a guy and he happened to have a friend. We hit it off.
She had heard some rumors about his behavior. However, she chose to ignore them.
At the beginning of the relationship, he was a great boyfriend, but everything changed.
I keep finding more and more reasons to leave this place.
As the relationship progressed, drink and drugs were becoming an issue for Reagan's boyfriend. And one evening, things took a dark turn.
So we were sitting on the couch and all of a sudden he just kind of like looked over at me and was like, "You're cheating on me." I remember him just like grabbing me and like shaking me, picking me up and throwing me around and like chasing me around the apartment.
She managed to run into the bathroom to escape, but the attack didn't stop there.
He was still out there banging on the door and he actually broke the door over me. And that's when I saw my black eye. I sent my best friend a Snapchat of my eye.
The next morning, he claimed he didn't remember anything and begged for forgiveness.
He started crying. I didn't mean to. It must have made me mad. I go back to my house and my best friend who I had sent the photo asked me about it. I told her that I hit my eye on the side of a table.
But when she returned home, her boyfriend was back drinking, and his behavior was becoming increasingly violent.
He was freaking out. He picked me up and put me up against a wall, choking me. He had such a scary look on his face.
Somehow, Reagan managed to get him off her.
I ran over to my friend, covered in blood and bruises, and I'm like, "Help me, you need to help me." My friend had sent the picture to my parents, and I got a call from the police. "We're getting your ex right now."
Reagan went to the hospital with her injuries.
My entire body was just head to toe covered in bruises. My eye was completely red and it popped all the blood vessels in this eye. If he would have like held my neck seconds longer, it would have either caused major brain issues. It could have just killed me.
Christa was just 18 when she met her former partner at a nightclub.
He told me how good I looked, that I was very impressionable.
Despite an 8-year age difference, things moved quickly.
I dated him for 2 months before he was able to convince me to move away 1,300 miles from my family.
The move would have left Christa completely isolated from those closest to her.
So my parents were very much against it, but my mom knew that she couldn't stop me.
And after the move, things took a turn for the worse.
It was approximately 4 months from the time that I met him to the time that he got me into sex trafficking.
Christa's boyfriend told her that there was a guy at work who was interested in sharing her. At first, she thought he was joking, but the reality soon hit.
The first night that he took me over to this guy's house, we sat in the living room and we watched TV. And then I saw him look at his watch and I said, "Are you ready to go?" And he was like, "We haven't even begun yet." The other man took me into the bedroom. I started telling him, "This makes me uncomfortable," and he forced himself on me. I cried the whole time.
Unbeknownst to Christa, her boyfriend was secretly posting pictures of her online to attract more men.
And he was meeting up with people and having conversations with people about sharing me with them. A couple months went by. My boyfriend approached me a second time.
She tried to resist, but eventually he got his way.
He said that I wasn't open-minded enough and that I had no idea the way that the world actually works. So he manipulated the whole situation to make me just feel tiny. They agreed to meet with another man, and then soon after that, it turned into many men on almost a daily basis.
The trafficking only stopped when Christa became pregnant by one of her abusers. 3 months after giving birth, tragedy struck.
We went to take a motorcycle ride on Route 66. We were approaching a fire truck and we hit them head on. He walked away without a scratch and I broke my vertebrae and became a quadriplegic. When I was able-bodied, he never hit me. However, once I came home from rehab, the abusive behavior started and lasted about a year.
During that year, Christa found strength she never knew she had.
I was going to rehab so I could use more of my upper body, get stronger. I was finally able to sneak away from him. Early on in my injury, I never reported him for abuse, but now that I was about a year into my injury, I had more help and I was in a more stable environment. So I felt comfortable calling the police and they charged him with assault. Gave him about 7 years in prison.
This had a huge shift in Christa's life.
After he left my life, it was such a sense of freedom. I got 2 master's degrees and I met my husband. He really helped get my mind straight and helped me realize that there's good in the world still.
In the early days, life was good for Kristin and ex-partner Zach Stacey, a former NFL player.
I met Zach Stacey while I was working for a football team. I was one of the wellness coordinators. We kind of just flourished.
Soon after having a baby, things began to change.
The depression was probably the first sign. He would just kind of shut himself off to the world. We had my son in June. There was a little incident in July that ended up in him throwing a can of water at my head. And then in August was the first real concerning incident that I physically had bruises on my arms, and he was very careful not to bruise my face. I had bruises on my legs. In that incident, I was thrown into a window that broke. Glass got in my feet.
Kristin decided to take a break from the relationship. Due to their son, the couple still had contact, which made things difficult.
There was a couple more incidents, one in September where he came by my house to pick up mail. He slapped me in the face with it while I was holding our son. I did make a police report that time.
And what happened next made headlines around the world.
I knew that he was coming by my house because he had messaged me. He was talking to our son, and what really started to concern me was the way that he was talking to our son, telling him that he wasn't going to see him for a while, that I was in the way, I was the problem. I could feel the energy shift in the room. As I was leaning towards the baby, he hit me in the head. I kind of sat down on the couch. He picked me up, and with everything he had, he flung me towards the TV. After I landed on the floor, he picked me up and then slammed me into our son's bouncy seat toy. And at that moment, he just stopped. I don't know why he stopped. He just stopped and he left.
Kristin immediately called 911.
I had some injuries to my back. I actually ended up busting my joint and I had to have surgery on my wrist.
And although he did get jail time, the process took a long time.
It was still a year and a half. In all that time, he's developed this relationship with our son. He had a psychological evaluation that he was deemed safe. I put a lot of work and time into our parenting plan so that it had a lot of aspects of psychological healing. I wanted my son to have both of his parents. I knew that that would all have to stop when he goes to jail.
Christa, Reagan, and Kristin all survived their abusers and want to inspire other people that they can do the same.
For people who are currently in or have been in domestic violence relationships, use every resource that you can find. This is not what love is. This is not what a relationship is.
To anybody that's going through sex trafficking, giving up their body against their will, you're better than that.
It's not your fault what happened to you. Make sure that you're focusing on yourself, your needs, and what you enjoy doing. I am
Seen.
Are you?